Right. Good. I over to x, so fx is equal to 4 to the power of x. But after teken die grafiek van fx. Nou sal jy sien the blue one, right? How did I know how to draw it? I basically substituted n values of x. No. So did anyone struggle with drawing fx? Exercise 3. This is now 1.1. Jy het nou nie jou huiswerk gedoen nie. Okay, then what? Say what? That's okay. Does it still go through here at y is what? Does here? Do you have another coordinate on there? 1 and 4, then your graph is perfect. That's okay. That's okay. All right. Then at B, now they say use the graph of fx to draw the inverse. Dui die koördinate van 3 punte op die grafiek van haar inverse aan en noem hom dan ook inverse. Okay. So I used this coordinate where y is 1 and x is 0. And I did the inverse of that, draw it over here. Right? Right, then inverse of that coordinate would be, switch them around, this one. En dit is hoekom ek 'n derde enetjie op my eksponensieel het, but you didn't have to. So I just got one more coordinate, and then inverse of that would be the cotangent minus 4. Right, so your coordinates might be different, right, as long as you substitute it in, and it's still, if you're unsure, then ask me, right, dan kan ek gou vir jou double check of it reg is. And then to get the red graph, the inverse, moes jy net jou x en jou y gaan omry. Okay. Right, and then you will see over here, you had to name it f minus 1. Okay, good, so that was B. Then at C, teken die lyn waarom fx en sy inverse symmetries is. Okay, now because we reflect these two lines in the line y is equal to x, it means that it would be symmetrical around that line. Nee? So die lyn is soos my as van symmetry. Nee? So y is equal to x. You guys good? Good. Yeah? What about it? Oh, okay. Ek kom nou by D. Dan by D sê hulle vir jou skryf die vergelyking van die inverse in the form y is equal to whatever. Now, it was, julle nou fix dit. Ek gaan dit nou hier delete. Dit was mos gewees f was y is equal to 4 to the power of x. Okay, so to get the inverse, I'm going to switch. So it would be x is equal to 4 to the power of y. And then that we write in log form. So it would be log x. That 4 moves down. And the y moves down. So that's what's written over here. You just can't see it behind the recording sign. Okay, so your answer is y is equal to log 4x. Any questions there? Good. Down by E, they ask for the range of f and the domain of the inverse. Okay, nou onthou, die waardeversameling gaan dieselfde wees as die domein van die inverse mos, né? Want dit ruil mos net op. Okay, so die waardeversameling van f, the range of f was y is greater than 0. The domain of the inverse is then just x is greater than 0. Is julle reg daar? Good. Dan by f, nou sê hulle, I've got to say whether f and the inverse of that is an increasing or a decreasing function. Now yesterday we said it's an increasing function if the x values increase and the y values, or as the x values increase, the y values also increase. Nee. Nou kyk gou na f. As ek van hier af soontoe beweeg, sien jy my x waardes raak meer? Nee? Okay, and what happens to my y values? They are also increasing as my x values increase. So that's why f would be an increasing function. Okay, nou kom ons kyk gou na die inverse. Hier gaan jy sien x se waardes raak meer. Okay, y values also increase. So, because as my x increases, the y also increases. The inverse is also an increasing function. Any questions? Goed, kan ek maar skip. Okay. 1.4, gee hulle vir my fx is gelyk aan 'n half tot die mag x. Okay, so they wanted me at A to draw the graph of fx. So ek het net gaan instel, né? As x 1 is, dan gaan y wees 'n half. As x 2 is, dan is y 'n kwart. Daar het ek hom vir jou ingestel, né? As x 0 is, dan is y 1. If x is minus 1, then y will be 2. Any one of those coordinates you could have on your graph. You definitely have to have this because that's an intercept. Ek het gister gesê, afsnitte by die x en die y, enige afsnit moet jy altyd vir my toon, né? So that's something that you definitely have to show me. Okay, so that was fx. Nou vra hulle by b vir my, skets die inverse and show 3 coordinates on that. Okay, so we use f. So inverse van hierdie gaan wees waar x is 1 en y is 0. Okay, the inverse of that one would be where x is 2 and y is minus 1. And then the inverse, where again, hierdie twee is nie inverse van mekaar nie. They're not inverse of each other. I used 2 different coordinates there. Okay, but as long as you have 3 coordinates on that blue graph, on your inverse graph. Okay, and then please make sure you name it as well. Hulle daar spesifiek dit vir my gesê. Goed, dan by C vra hulle mos my show the line, die lyn waarom fx en sy inverse symmetries is. So again, it would be the y is equal to x. No. Good. Then at f, they want the range of f. Okay, en die y-waardes van f, hulle kan alles wees solank dit positief is. In other words, y is greater than 0. Then they want the range of the inverse, meaning the blue graph, en daar is dit ook. Hy moet net aan die regterkant bly van my y-as, met ander woorde, I want only positive x values, né? En onthou, hulle is mos inverse van mekaar, so can you see it was y is greater than 0, and now it's just x is greater than 0. No. You guys good? Goed, dan, goed, ek het nooit gepraat oor D nie, sorry. D, they wanted you to get the equation of the inverse. Okay, nou ons vergelijking was gewees, y is gelijk aan 'n half tot die mag x. So because it's inverse, I'm going to make it x is equal to 1/2 to the power of y. Nee? En dan moet jy ons dan net gaan skryf in log vorm. The x is next to the log, the half pushes down, so it becomes log half x, and then that y also pushes down, so y is gelijk aan. Alright. Maar julle is redelik okay met daai. Dan, f. Is there increasing or a decreasing function? Hier gaan jy sien my x-waardes raak elke keer meer, but if I take the graph of fx, kyk gou my y-waardes raak minder. Do you see that? Nee? Okay, so meaning, as x increases, the y is decreasing, so dit is 'n dalende funksie. Same at the inverse, y values are decreasing as my x values increase. So dan is dit 'n decreasing function. Right. Any questions? Kan ek maar skip? Goed, ek dink hier het ek opgehou skryf, so nou moet ek net gou wakker wees. Ja. Alright, so at 2.1, hier gee hulle vir my fx is gelyk aan 2 tot die mag x plus 1. Okay, en as ek nou vir fx gaan skets, dan stel ek in daarso al die waardes, hy gaan 'n asymptoot hê. Ek dit nou net gou weer maak. Daar en ja. Okay, hoekom doen ek dit? Because now this exponential graph, because of that plus 1, it means that my whole graph moved up 1 unit. Nee. Okay, so jy moet hier vir my gaan sê, my vergelyking hier gaan wees, y is gelyk aan 1. Nee, so, and that was because of this plus 1. Right, I'm going to talk about that other line just now. So, what's going to happen here is, if I draw fx, dan gaan hy, nou moet ek net mooi teken. So like, excuse me, nie daar so afgaan nie. It cuts here where y is 2, en hy sny daar waar x 1 is, en y is 3. Okay. And did anyone struggle with drawing that one? Dit was, ja? Ek gaan nou oor hom praat, excuse. Ek het hom net so lang geteken terwyl ek by my lyne was. Ja. Okay, is julle reg met daai? Okay, forget about that vertical line. Dankie, ek moes eers mooi dink. I had a horizontal asymptote of y is equal to 1. Nee? Okay, now, at B, they asked me to draw the inverse. So now, gaan my asymptoot nie meer wees by y is gelyk aan 1 nie, but it will be at x is equal to 1. So that's where this line comes. Oopsie. So that's where this line comes from. I'm now doing B, where they asked me to do the inverse of f. So now my asymptote won't be y is equal to 1, it's now going to be x is equal to 1. Okay. Right, so kom ons kyk gaan na ons punte. As ek gaan instel, daai 2, maar ek gaan hom nou eers teken, want ek kan nie, hy gaan nou lyk so. That's inverse. Okay, so this 2, y was 2, nou gaan dit wees, x is 2. Nee. You guys fine with that? Okay, over here, it was x is 1 and y is 3. Nou gaan dit wees, x is 3 en y is 1. You guys good with that? Any questions? Okay. By C, om watter lyn gaan hulle symmetries wees? Again, it would be this line of y is equal to x. Is it okay? Dan D. At D, they want me to give the inverse. Nee? No. Kyk gou weer. I'm going to explain at the bottom and then delete afterwards. It was y is equal to 2 to the power of x plus 1. Nee? Nou, hy gaan nou raak, x is gelyk aan 2 tot die mag y plus 1. Het ek kom nou reg, is daai eksponent? Okay, goed, net so. Then, so this is inverse. Now I just got to alter it so that it would be y is equal to something. So kom ons vat hierdie plus 1 oor, nee, dan raak hy ons x minus 1 is gelyk aan 2 tot die mag y. You guys good so far? Now, these two obviously are going to push down. Maar dit gaan ek nou sien as een ding. Nee, so I'm going to have log 2 x minus 1 equal to y. Eintlik y is gelyk aan. Sorry, ek het hom nou verkeerd omgeskryf. But it's same thing. Is julle okay? Any questions there? Kan ek maar hierdie onderste enetjie uitvee? Wat's fout, ouma? Jy reg. Okay, can I delete the bottom part? Goed. Dan E. At E, nou soek hulle die waardeversameling van F. Okay, now range of F. Look at that one. It can be any y values as long as it's above that asymptote. Nee? Met ander woorde, y moet wees groter as 1. Please not equal to, nee? Ja, dan soek hulle die definisieversameling van die inverse. Okay, now remember, domain would just be the opposite. So now instead of y is greater than 0, it will be x is worth my greater than 0, greater than 1. Is julle reg? Any questions there? Okay, then at F, they're asking, are they increasing or decreasing? They are both what? Increasing. Want, kyk gou, soos wat my x meer raak, raak my y ook meer. As x increases, y also increase. Right, so any questions there? Goed, nou is ons by oefening 3. Kan ek maar skip? Nee, oefening 5, sorry. Okay. Exercise 5. Julle het vir my gedoen 1.3. En hulle het gesê dit is fx is gelyk aan log 3x. Okay. So, at 1.3, hulle sê vir elkeen van die funksies moet ons weer daai vragies gaan antwoord. Skryf die vergelyking van die inverse in die vorm y is gelyk aan. Alright, so a. The inverse would then be, onthou, as ek hierdie gaan skryf in eksponensiële vorm, ja, jy gaan hê, y is gelyk aan 3 tot die mag x. Do you guys want me to show how you got there? You good. Okay, dan B. Vra hulle vir my, teken die grafiek van die inverse en van f op dieselfde asstelsel, dui 2 punte op die kromme van die inverse aan. Okay, right, so that's f. And it cuts at 1. Dis mos maar altyd. En as x 1 is y 3. Goed, dan moet ek die inverse gaan teken. Inverse of that would look like that. So now it's not going to cut at y is 1, but at x is 1. En hier was het x is 1, y is 3. We switch it around, so x is 3 and y is 1. Nee. Ek het hom nou verkeerd omgeskryf. Daar is f. En dis die inverse, sorry. Okay, you good? Okay, then at C. By C sê hulle vir my, as G die refleksie van F in die x-as is, skryf die vergelyking van G in die vorm. Okay, nou, F was gewees daai, nee? Where y is equal to log 3x. Okay, that was f. So let's just go write that in exponential form. Dan gaan ek hê x is gelyk aan, nie maar hulle wil hom net, ekskuus, hou aan, in die, nee, ek hoef nie terug te skryf eksponensiële vorm toe nie, sorry, ek sou jou nou ekstra werk te laat doen het, because it reflects in x-axis, my x-waardes gaan dieselfde bly, y-waardes gaan negatief raak, nee? So that is just going to become minus y is equal to log 3x, maar ek mag hom nie so los nie, so it's going to be y is equal to log, and that 3 will become a third x. Wil julle ek moet vir julle wys hoe ek by hom uitkom? You guys good? Okay, goed, dan by D. By D sê dit my as H die refleksie van F in die y-as is, skryf dan die vergelyking. Okay, so our equation was y is equal to log 3x, maar omdat ek nou reflekteer in die y-as, y-waardes bly dieselfde, so x gaan verskil, so daai raak minus. Nee, okay, now please, when we put a negative over there, have brackets around it, nee? En dan moet jy net sê, x moet wees kleiner as 0. Alright. Any questions? Can I skip? Can I go on to the next one? Anyone still copying? Good. 1.4. By 1.4 gee hulle vir my fx is gelyk aan log 2/3 x. Okay, kom ek skryf gou eers vir julle en dan gaan ek nou vir julle teken. So by A vra hulle ons vir die inverse. So that will be y is equal to 2/3 to the power of x. En ek kan dit sien, hè. Okay, ons gaan nou vir B doen, waar ek moet gaan, kom ek doen sommer gou. B waar ek moet teken, this is y is equal to x. If I draw the inverse, so, en down. So that is nie so mooi perfect nie, maar let's gonna cut here at 1. Two over 3 and 1. Goed. Laat ek hoor, is daar enige vrae by die teken? Is hulle okay? Goed, dan by C het hulle ons nou gevra vir daai G. G would then be y is equal to a log 3 over 2 x. So nou vir hulle nog krap en verduidelik, en dan H, is ons ook 'n refleksie, hy gaan raak y is gelyk aan log 2 over 3 minus x, but you've got to say x must be less than 0. Okay, laat ek gou hoor. Ek dink almal is fine by A en B, nee? Okay, at C, any questions? Is julle okay met dit? Okay. D. Iemand wat by D sukkel nie. D was eintlik maar, jy moes net onthou om my laaste stukkie by te skryf and put the negative in front of the x. Nee. So no questions, people. Is julle reg? Onthou, is vandag speak now forever hold your peace, nee, want einde van hierdie dag is funksies klaar en logs klaar. Okay, so by C, ek gaan sommer hier onderkrap and then I'll delete afterwards. At C, they said it must be a reflection of F in the x-axis, nee? Okay, so this is F, nee? Okay, so dit was gewees, A is gelyk aan log 2/3 x. Okay, now when we reflect in the x-axis, x values stay the same, but y needs to change, nee? So if you want, you could just put the y here in front, nee? To me, it always feels easier to first write it over into exponential. Then, make your y or your x, whatever the reflection is, negative, and then I rewrite it back to log. Ek weet is extra werk, maar ek maak makliker 'n fout as ek net werk met log. Okay. So that's what I'm going to do now for you. So as ek dit sou gaan skryf in exponentiële vorm, nee, then I would have x is equal to 2/3 to the power of y. Okay. Okay. Then, excuse, I was not eating with that. Because we're reflecting in the x-axis, x stays the same and y will become negative. Now, that's actually negative 1y. Right. So I can let that negative 1 apply to the fraction. So it's the same as having 2/3 to the power of negative 1, and after that, say, to the power of y. No. And because of that negative 1, the two are going to switch around. Is jy reg? So then it becomes x is equal to 3/2 to the power of y. No. And if I now go write it back to log, you'll see that 3/2. No. Is jy reg? Sien jy hoekom dit vir my makliker is? If I had to do that in log, dan ek hou nie daarvan nie. I pick my battles. So, any other questions? Yeah. Urine wants to? Gaan blaas. Nou, jy weet mos ek het nie, sis. Okay, can I delete this bottom part? Okay. Jy kan maar hard blaas, jy het al vir my gehoor neusblaas. Gooi tog, ek het altyd my kamermaat jammer gekry, want ek blaas nie soos, nie ek, so lekker. Okay, kan ek skip? Right, then, 2.1, nee, laaste enetjie, ja. Okay, 2.1, gee hulle vir my, en die vraag is die funksie fx is gelyk aan, ek gaan nou sommer daar skryf, log ax van toepassing. 'n punt op elke grafiek word gegee. Now the coordinate that they're giving me is 9 and -2, nee? Nou vra hulle by A. Vind die waarde van A. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm first going to go and substitute in. Oh, sec no. Right, so instead of y, I'm going to say -2 is equal to log a, and then instead of x, I'm going to say 9. Nee, nou kom ons gaan skryf net gou dit in exponentiële vorm. In exponential form, it would be a to the power of -2 is equal to 9. And from that, I can see that a will be 1/3. You guys good? Okay, so now automatically I know that it would be fx, is equal to log 1/3 x. Woo, so bloody lekker derde dan. You guys good? Okay, then at B. By B vra hulle vir my die vergelyking van die inverse in die vorm A is gelyk aan wat. Okay, so that would be y is equal to 1/3 to the power of x. Good. At C, they want me to draw these two graphs. So kom ek teken gou daar vir jou. Hierdie is nog steeds y is gelyk aan x. En that is the inverse. En hy sny hierso by 1. And then one more coordinate where x is minus 1 and y is 3. Okay, dan het ek die f. And this will cut at 1 here. En as ek daai koördinaat, dan is x3 en y minus 1. Okay, so any questions there? Oh, true. Okay, it's fine. Ek sien julle mos net maar weer. And all we've got to do is D and E. En dat is klaar.